Welcome fellow and future adventurer to Pathfinder 2nd edition. My name is Model 42 and today I want to give you some tips and tricks how your character and your party will survive longer and maybe, just maybe, even a whole adventure path. You might laugh right now, but if your dungeon mistress is worth her salt, which means she not only knows the rules in the story, and maybe even is a decent actress, she also will know the particular balance of the game and how it works. I only talk about this right now, since my playgroup had a team wipe in their third session against 3 skeleton guards and 1 skeleton champion, a severe encounter that should cost some resources and pose a decent threat, though most likely not be fatal, and it was one of only 3 planned encounters in the dungeon and also the hardest. They had a warning sign that something was off with those skeletons they were poking, but did not heal, prepare or rest before venturing further, which leads me to the following points for you to have in mind as a player. First up, be careful, never run into something blind and try to analyze situations, enemies and locations before venturing further or starting combat. If you can see a threat, take a few turns to use recall knowledge about the potential threat and plan a simple plan of how to proceed. Recklessness and ignorance will get you killed in Pathfinder. Secondly, if you are below your maximum hit points, especially on lower levels, try to be as healthy as possible since even a goblin can one-shot you with a critical hit, and down you with a normal attack if you are on low health. Enemies are balanced in a way, as that they have an about 50-50 shot against you if you are well built and equipped. If you have long-term buffs like mage armor, make sure they are active before running into danger or encounters. Thirdly, pay attention to your surroundings. Do not just step ahead, take your time and seek or look for hidden things, like traps, items, ambushes, markings on walls, and even try to talk with your fellow party members about strange things you see, or things you do not know what they are. Smart dungeon mistresses will put clues, history, riddles, solutions, flavor and extra stuff for you into the dungeons and areas so that you can explore and find rare items and be stronger and well prepared for the encounters down the line. Being a murder hobo or antisocial character will get you killed sooner than later, because talking and helping others will usually help your group down the line, but also be careful whom you trust. That is again why you have skills and abilities to determine if someone is honest or untrustworthy, but if you brutally murder all people you meet, you not only kill the potential for roleplay, you also make more enemies than you can handle. Being a hero pays off 99% of the time in these games, even in an evil campaign, where you rather should make some allies than only enemies. This was the 4th tip. When it comes to number 5, smart combat tactics are the bread and butter, and if you played a strategic role-playing video game at least once in your life, like Divinity Original Sin, Pillars of Eternity, Final Fantasy Tactics, Vandal Hearts or even Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, you should have an understanding that positioning, smart use of spells, teamwork with flanking and protection and more are a vital part of surviving encounters, and a smart group can even beat foes way higher than their own level. In Pathfinder 2nd edition, the highest encounter you can have is an extreme threat, which could be, if you are still level 1 group of 4 heroes, a level 5 monster like a single troll for example, or it could be 4 wolves. Both will be a challenge to overcome and will need a party with resources to finish without casualties, though a little bit of luck and good teamwork will put you through such an encounter. Know your characters and their abilities well, learn the rules of the game, know what the other players can do with their characters, and maybe plan some maneuvers together in your downtime or in the tavern while drinking. This can lead to some metered gaming, though one of the most acceptable kinds since it helps the group stay alive longer and will incorporate teamwork. As a 6th tip, I would say that while roleplay and character work is important and well loved by players and dungeon mistresses all over the world, if it makes your character do something dumb that everybody, including your character, knows is dumb, then don't do it just for the giggles. Also included is unnecessary stuff that might lead to checks and rolls and critical failures. Each roll you have to make has the potential to be amazing, but also to catastrophically end your journey. The most recent example that comes to mind was a Gribbly Ranger in my group, still level 1, who decided to bathe in the river at morning, a few paces from the city gates. Luckily it was a safe area, so I warned him about maybe a big pike could be the biggest threat for his 55-centimeter body, but he stayed very near to the shore. Nothing happened. Then, and this will be the moral for this story, he asked if there are fish nearby he could try to catch, and of course I said yes, there might be some. Make a perception check, which he of course succeeded in, and then wanted to grab one, so I told him to make an acrobatics check to see if he had the reflexes, speed and dexterity to grab one of them. He failed, with a natural 1. That was a foul and was turned into a botch because of the 1, so he was drawn underwater by a fish as big as he was and turned up in the middle of a raging river, where the fish went. He couldn't save himself from drowning, which as a frog is actually kind of hilarious, so I had to construct a sort of deus ex machina moment by consulting destiny, as I like to call it, and it fit the story, so he lived for that session. If he wouldn't have had the idea to grab a fish, for no reason at all I have to add, then he would have been perfectly fine. The last tip has something to do with another video I made, called Party Composition, so I will not repeat it here, except for the summary that you should strive to build a well-balanced party that is able to face most challenges and situations. However, another important component is that you create a character that is likable, social and perceptive with at least the other team members, which means she can be evil, as long as she cares about her associates. This way you can talk about the aforementioned things, work together and take care of one another. As a bonus tip, rest, rest, rest. In most cases, not all the time, you can rest and regenerate health and get your spells back, even if that means you are wasting 2/3 of the day just to get the daily preparation the next morning. You can rest not only in an inn, or at the campfire, you can rest in dungeons as well. Just make sure that it is safe and the people keeping watch are at least fit and sober. Speaking of experience here, when a drunk cleric was caught off guard by a tiger and only one character heard that he was taken away, the group being able to barely save his life. So yeah, recklessness and carelessness, always dangerous. Do you have more tips to add? Please do so in the comments and tell me some stories of what went wrong in your games because of negligence of such tips. I thank you so much for staying with me till the end, and if you want to help out or found this video to be helpful or inspiring, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more content and guides. Until then, stay safe my friends until we meet somewhere on the roads of Galarian.